तो हम पहले 2 पार्ट गीता के समाप्त कर दिए, अध्याय 1 से लेके 6 तक। तो निष्काम कर्म योग, अप्रोचिंग भक्ति थ्रू कर्मा has been described। 7वें से 12वें अध्याय में डायरेक्टली प्योर डिवोशनल सर्विस के बारे में मेंशन किया गया है। अनन्या भक्ति, अव्यभिचारिणी भक्ति, हेतु की भक्ति is described। And we are discussing chapter 13, so which the third part of Bhagavad Gita. So Bhagavad Gita is basically like a sandwich. The top covering, bottom covering, and middle there is a cream or essence stuff. We are discussing the third portion, chapter number 13 to 18. So which is like the Jnana Yoga, means approaching a bhakti through jnana. We already completed chapter 13. So where Arjuna asked the question Krishna that what is Prakriti, what is Purusha, what is Kshetra, what is Kshetrajya, what is Jnana, and what is Niyam. Means प्रकृति क्या है, पुरुष क्या है, क्षेत्र क्या है, क्षेत्रज्ञ क्या है, ज्ञान क्या है, और ज्ञान व्हाट इज द ज्ञान का पर्पस क्या है, क्या जानना चाहिए, व्हाट इज द ऑब्जेक्ट ऑफ नॉलेज. So Krishna answered all those questions in 13th chapter only. You know, क्षेत्र क्या है, क्षेत्रज्ञ क्या है. क्षेत्र मतलब बॉडी, क्षेत्रज्ञ मतलब द सोल. Body is made of prakriti, you know, 24 elements, which begins, you know, 3 modes of problem, 3 modes of material nature, 10 karmendriya, 5 karmendriya, 5 jnanendriyas, 5 sense object, पंच महाभूता, मन बुद्धि अहंकार. प्रकार से 24 उनके बारे में बात किया गया है. So that consists Kshetra. And what is Kshetrajya? The one who knows the Kshetra, the soul, उसके बारे में बताया. So basically Kshetra is Prakriti and Kshetrajya is Purusha. There are 2 Purushas, soul and the super soul. Jivatma, Anuatma, Vibhuatma. Jivatma, Paramatma. There are 2. So in that same chapter, how we can acquire those knowledge. So what is knowledge? Knowledge means to know the difference between what is Kshetra and what is Kshetrajya. What is Prakriti and what is Purusha. What is material nature and what is Jivatma. So that is called knowledge. And how can we achieve that knowledge is also described in chapter 13. So then, अगर हमें कोई ज्ञान प्राप्त करना है तो हमारे पास कुछ क्वालिफिकेशन होना जरूरी है. 20 क्वालिफिकेशन बताए हैं. उसमें मुख्य चीज है मय च अनन्य भक्ति अव्यभिचारिणी. अनन्या एंड अव्यभिचारिणी भक्ति के बारे में बताया था. बहुत इम्पोर्टेंट है. इम्पोर्टेंस ऑफ सेल्फ रियलाइजेशन इज वेरी वेरी इम्पोर्टेंट. तो 8 से लेकर 12वें श्लोक में बताया था हाउ टू अचीव दैट knowledge. What is the object of knowledge? Nayam. So basically, Purusha and Param Purusha, or you can say soul and super soul, or you can say Jivatma and Paramatma, or you can say Anuatma, Vibhuatma. ठीक है, अणुआत्मा मीन्स जीवात्मा, विभुआत्मा मीन्स परमात्मा. उसके बारे में बताया था. और उसके बाद उन्होंने बताया so that was the object of knowledge. In the 20 to 28 verse, Krishna described about what is Prakriti, what is Purusha, and their union, how they are working together. And in the last 9 verses of 13th chapter, the Jnana Chakshu, If you have this knowledge, how should we act, how can we go beyond, and all those things are described. Vision of knowledge is described. We started with yesterday. We started with 14th chapter. Then 14th chapter, no, Krishna says it is Jnananam Jnanam Uttamam. That is highest knowledge. Uttama Jnana. Krishna is glorifying the knowledge which he is going to describe. So in 14th chapter, Krishna describe more about describe material nature in detail with the analysis of three modes. तीन गुणों के बारे में चर्चा करके भगवान प्रकृति के बारे में बता रहे हैं 14 में। पहले 2 श्लोक में भगवान की ज्ञान क्या है, ज्ञान की तारीफ कर रहे हैं। ज्ञानानम ज्ञानम उत्तमम, सारे ज्ञानों में से उत्तम ज्ञान है ये। तो पहले 2 श्लोक में वो कर रहे हैं। तीसरे और चौथे श्लोक में भगवान बता रहे हैं कि जीवात्मा कैसे भौतिक जगह प्रकृति में अंदर कैसे आते हैं, उसके बारे में बताया भगवान ने तीसरे और चौथे श्लोक में। तो 5 से लेकर 9वें श्लोक में उन्होंने क्या किया, हाउ द मटेरियल मोड्स जीवात्मा को अलग अलग प्रकार से कैसे बांधते हैं उसके बारे में बताया यहाँ पर। ठीक है, फिर हमने डिस्कस किया था कि तो फिर 10 से लेकर 13 में भगवान ने बताया कि हम कैसे पता लगाए हम कौन से मोड में हैं, हाउ टू रिकॉग्नाइज द प्रोमिनेंस ऑफ द मोड। मोडों के गुण है उसमें अलग, कभी सत्व गुण ऊपर, कभी रजोगुण ऊपर, तमोगुण ऊपर, तो कैसे होता है उसके बारे में बताया। फिर 14 और 15 में श्लोक में बताया अगर हम पर्टिकुलर मोड में मतलब पर्टिकुलर गुण में रहकर अगर शरीर त्यागते तो हमारी क्या गति होगी, उसके बारे में हमने चर्चा की। ओके, और 16वें और से लेकर 18वें श्लोक में उन्होंने बताया कि अगर हम पर्टिकुलर मोड में रहकर पर्टिकुलर गुण में रहकर हम काम करेंगे तो हमें किस प्रकार का रिजल्ट प्राप्त होगा, क्या प्राप्त होगा, उसके बारे में बताया। ठीक है, तो हमने कल 18वें श्लोक तक चर्चा किया था। तो those situated in the mode of goodness gradually go upward to the higher planets. Those in the mode of passion live on the earthly planet, and those in the mode of ignorance go down to the hellish world. ऊर्ध्वं गच्छन्ति सत्वस्ता मध्ये तिष्ठन्ति राजसा जनादि गुणावृत्तिस्ता अतो गच्छन्ति तामसा। तो यहाँ तक हमने कल चर्चा की थी। तो आज भगवान ने 19वें लेके तो यहाँ पर भगवान बता रहे कैसे अभी 19, 20 मतलब पर यहाँ पर भगवान बोल रहे हैं हाउ वी कैन बिकम. कृष्णा सेज इन सेकंड चैप्टर 45th वर्स, त्रैगुण्य विषया वेदा निस्त्रैगुण्य भव अर्जुन निर्द्वंद्व नित्य सिद्धस्य नित्यम योग आत्मवान. बता रहे वेदा जनरली डील विद थ्री मोड्स ऑफ मटेरियल नेचर. व्हाट ही एडवाइज निस्त्रैगुण्य भव अर्जुन, go beyond the three modes of material nature. It says here निस्त्रैगुण्य भव अर्जुन. Okay, Arjuna become transcendental to these three modes. So in this chapter now onward is how we can become Gunatit and what are the characteristics of Gunatit person. How can we understand? How can we transcend the modes of nature? So all these things are described in the rest of the chapter. So basically Gunatit, how we can become Gunatit, निस्त्रैगुण्य, वो यहाँ पर बताया गया है. तो आज हम यहाँ से शुरुआत करते हैं 19 श्लोक से. न अन्यम गुणेभ्यः कर्तारं यदा द्रष्टानुपश्यति गुणेभ्यश्च परम वेत्ति मद्भावं स्वधिगच्छति. बोल रहे when one properly see that in all activities no other performer is at work than these modes of nature and knows the Supreme Lord who is transcendental to all these modes, he attains my spiritual nature. So what we have to understand? Actually, all the activities are carried uh, carried by modes of material nature. How to understand this thing? If you remember, मैंने अध्याय 5 में एक चीज की चर्चा की थी. आपको पता होगा कि भगवान जीवात्मा इज ए इनिशिएटर. He has sent the request, or he has proposed the demand. Then God, भगवान को परमिशन देते हैं. Sanction is sanctioner. Jiva is initiator, Lord is sanctioner, and Prakriti is facilitator. तो जीवात्मा की इच्छा तो है, लेकिन वो इच्छा भौतिक इच्छा है, तो भौतिक शरीर की सहायता के बिना कर नहीं सकता. तो भौतिक शरीर कैसे बना हुआ है? 3 गुणों से बना हुआ है. उसको हमने चर्चा की. 5 कर्मेंद्रिय, 5 ज्ञानेंद्रिय, 5 इंद्रिय विषय है, और 5 पंच महाभूत है, और 3 सूक्ष्म शरीर, मन बुद्धि अहंकार, और एक महतत्व. जैसे 24 एलिमेंट से बना हुआ है. तो अगर जीवों की कोई इच्छा है तो वो पूरी करने के लिए क्या चाहिए? मटेरियल फैसिलिटीज चाहिए. तो वो भी अगर उसको कुछ खाना है तो भाई मन की इच्छा होगी तो होगा नहीं. मन को बोलना पड़ता है, पैरों को. बार बार मैंने चर्चा की है, जाओ लेके जाओ मुझे जहाँ पे मुझे स्वीट मिल रहा है. वहां जाने के बाद बोलना पड़ेगा भाई मुझे स्वीट चाहिए. फिर जब वो स्वीट देंगे तो आपको हाथ उठाना पड़ेगा और हाथ से मुंह में स्वीट डालना पड़ेगा, और मुंह में स्वीट 5 मिनट भी नहीं रोक सकते, चबाना पड़ता है. तो उस प्रकार से, और जब चबाएंगे तो उसका टेस्ट वापस मन में, ब्रेन में स्टोर हो जाएगा. ऐसे चलता है. तभी मैं चर्चा नहीं कर रहा. तो हमें सिर्फ इच्छा कर सकते हैं, लेकिन ये सारी चीजें जो फैसिलिटी प्रोवाइड चाहिए इसके लिए वो, और उसका रिजल्ट भी ये भौतिक तत्वों में ही होता है. कर्मेंद्रिय के द्वारा ही रिजल्ट प्राप्त होता है, उसके द्वारा ही क्रिया होती है, और जो हमें रिजल्ट भी मिलेगा ये मटेरियल नेचर के अंदर ही मिलेगा. इफ यू सी दैट वे, परफॉर्मर इज एट वर्क, then only it is being carried out by 3 modes of material nature. Or let's say suppose someone is pig's body, even if he wants to eat ras malai, but he end up eating stool only because he has to act helplessly with the body which he has acquired from the three modes of material nature. Just like भरत महाराज, उनको पता था हिरण का शरीर में है, उनको पता है उन्होंने क्या गलती की है, उनको क्या करना चाहिए, लेकिन हिरण के शरीर के अंदर है कि जो क्रिया कर सकते वही कर पाए, तो भौतिक दृष्टि से वो कर पाए, तो हमें भौतिक so that's what it says when one properly sees that in all activities no other performer is at work than modes of nature, इसलिए बोला गया है। आगे परपोर्ट में जाते हैं, one can transcend all the activities of the mode of material nature simply by understanding them properly, by learning from proper soul. That's it was mentioned in third chapter, 13th chapter, verse number 9, that Acharya Upasana. When it is mentioned in 4th chapter, 34th verse, what is that? Tadividhi pranipatena praniprasnena seva. Pariprasnena seva. This the real spiritual master is Krishna. He is imparting the spiritual knowledge to Arjuna. Similarly, it is from those who are fully in Krishna consciousness that one has to learn this science of activities in terms of modes of material nature. Otherwise, one's life will be misdirected. By the instruction of bona fide spiritual master, a living entity can know his spiritual position, his material body, his sense, how he is entrapped and how he is under the spell of material mode of nature. सारी चीजें 13, 14, 15 चैप्टर में आ जाता है. He is helpless being in a grip of these modes, but when he can see his real position, then he can attend to the transcendental platform, having the scope of spiritual life. But still, we have free will. Okay, this body, through this body, we may not be able to act, but we can choose mentally. We are suffering. Why? Because we are asakta. Sakta, not asakta. We are sakta. We have developed that attachment. कल मैंने मर्सिडीज का एग्जांपल दिया था, उदाहरण दिया था. जो व्यक्ति अटैच नहीं है, अगर मर्सिडीज बैंक के ऊपर वो खरोच जाएगी तभी उसको तब उसको कुछ नहीं होगा, लेकिन जिसकी मर्सिडीज है, जैसे ना हृदय के ऊपर खरोच आई है, ऐसा लगेगा. So actually, the living entity is not the performer of different activities, forced to act because he is situated in particular type of body conducted by some particular mode of nature. Be clear हो गया होगा पहली line. We have achieved the body, so we have to act although we don't want. Let's say I go to USA. I have taken a visa from India and going to USA. Now I am forced to follow those rules and regulations, although I don't want. Or if I want something, I may not get. So now you are in the jurisdiction of United States, not of India. Similarly, we have got some body and we are the jurisdiction of that particular body. We will act as per that particular body. Unless one has the help of spiritual authority, cannot understand in what position he is actually situated. With the association of bona fide spiritual master, he can see his real position. By such an understanding, he can become fixed in Krishna consciousness. A man in Krishna consciousness is not controlled by the spell of material modes of nature. It has already been stated in the 7th chapter that one who has surrendered to Krishna is relieved from the activities of material nature. Yesam tantagatam papam. Sorry. For one who is able to see things as they are, the influence of material nature gradually ceases. Okay. So in the next verse, Krishna says when one can surpass the modes, can surpass the miseries. So in the next verse he says, Gunane, Gunan etan atitya trini देहि देह समुद्भवान जन्म मृत्यु जरा दुखेर विमुक्तो amrutam ashnute. So when the embodied being is able to transcend these three modes associated with material body, he can become free from birth, death, old age, and the distress, and can enjoy nectar even in this life. Okay, it's very, very important. So when the embodied being is able to transcend these three modes associated with the material body, he can become free from birth, death, old age, and the distress, and can enjoy nectar even in this life. Vimukta amrutam ashnute. We have to transcend. Who can transcend is mentioned here. That when one properly sees that in all activity no other performer is at work in these modes of nature, he knows the Supreme Lord who is transcendental to all these modes, he attains my spiritual nature. So on is this vision, he can transcend these modes of material nature. That all the activities are carried out with modes. So even he will be agitated, he will tolerate. Basically, we have to tolerate all the material desires. We have to tolerate. If the modes are forcing us, minds are forcing us to do something, we have to tolerate, thinking that these modes are pushing me. I don't have to be agitated by all those things. And he knows the Supreme Lord who is transcendent to all these modes, he attains a spiritual nature. Basically, what happened? By knowing this, what will happen? You act that way. जब आपको पता लगेगा, when you understand you are not this body, you are soul. So then you will act. You have to act on the mode of spirit, the mode of soul. And apart, so if you are not this body or soul, then what's your duty that you have to inquire? So our duty is then part and parcel of Krishna. So our duty is to serve him. Okay. So here we have to understand that Jivatma has become, जीवात्मा जो है वो गुणों के अधीन है, उनको गुणों से अतीत होना है, गुणातीत होना है. गुणाधीन है अभी, गुणातीत होना है. लेकिन जो परमात्मा है, भगवान है, हमेशा गुणातीत है, गुणों के अंदर कभी नहीं आते. अगर वो अंडरस्टैंडिंग होगी तो व्हाट हैपन, विल परसीव द सुप्रीम लॉर्ड, विल आस्क, टेक हिज शेल्टर एंड विल गो बियॉन्ड दिस थिंग. ओके. सो यहाँ पर उन्होंने क्या बताया है, अगर वो गुणातीत हो जाते हैं तो यही जीवन में वो अमृत का आस्वादन कर सकते हैं. So how one can stay in the transcendental position even this body in full Krishna consciousness is explained in this verse. So how? By transcend the modes of material nature. Okay, so Dehi means embodied. Although one is within this material body, by his advancement in spiritual knowledge, he can free from the influence of modes of material nature. मोड्स ऑफ मटेरियल नेचर मतलब माया देवी है, माया शक्ति है भगवान. इनसे परे कैसे होना है? भगवान की कृपा प्राप्त कर मतलब आध्यात्मिक पाथ पर उन्नति कर पैरेलली होता है. भौतिक प्रकृति से हमें डिटैचमेंट डेवलप करना है और कृष्ण की ओर हमें अटैचमेंट डेवलप करना है. तो पैरेलल हो रहा है साथ. He can enjoy the happiness of spiritual life even in this body, because after leaving this body, he certainly go to the spiritual sky. But even in this body, he can enjoy spiritual happiness. अगर हम गुणातीत हो जाते हैं तो यही शरीर में हम आध्यात्मिक सुख का अनुभव कर सकते हैं. So in other words, devotional service in Krishna consciousness is the sign of liberation from the material entanglement. And this will be explained in the 18th chapter. One is free from the influence of the modes of material nature. We enter into the devotional service. तो अभी कौन मुक्त हो सकता है? तो अर्जुन वापस अभी यहाँ पे अर्जुन प्रश्न पूछ रहा है, उनको हम कैसे पहचाने? तो आपने देखा होगा दूसरे अध्याय में तो यहाँ पर अर्जुन उवाच कले लिंगे स्त्रीण गुणा एतान अतितो भवति प्रभो किम आचरः कथम चेताम गुणान अतिवर्तते। तो अर्जुन प्रश्न पूछे, ओ माय डियर लॉर्ड, बाय विच सिम्टम्स इज वन known who is transcendental to these three modes? ऐसे कौन से गुण हैं उसको देखकर हम बता सकते हैं कि तीन गुणों से वो परे है। उनका बिहेवियर मतलब क्या बोलेंगे? अब समझ गया है, आचरण कैसा है उसका, एंड हाउ डज इट ट्रांसेंड द मोड्स ऑफ मटेरियल नेचर, वो कैसे परे हुआ है, हाउ डज इट ट्रांसेंड मोड्स ऑफ मटेरियल नेचर। तो अर्जुन का ये प्रश्न है। तो आप देखेंगे 54वें श्लोक में, दूसरे अध्याय के 54वें श्लोक में अर्जुन ने चित्त प्रज्ञा के बारे में प्रश्न पूछा था। भगवान ने पिछले श्लोक में उन्होंने इस शब्द बोला था, कौन सा? अचल बुद्धि चित्त प्रज्ञा, मतलब जिसकी बुद्धि फिक्स है उसको पकड़कर प्रश्न पूछा था, चित्त प्रज्ञा का भास समाधिस्थ कैसे हो, सिद्धिर किम प्रभासित किम आसित व्रजित किम। What are the symptoms of one whose consciousness is merged in the transcendence? मतलब गुणातीत, उसके लक्षण क्या है? How does he speak? What is his language? How does he sit? How does he walk? बेसिकली स्थित प्रज्ञ और गुणातीत एक ही है, इस तरह से देखेंगे, ठीक है। लेकिन यहाँ पर अर्जुन ने ये प्रश्न नहीं पूछा था, मैं स्थित प्रज्ञ कैसे बन सकता, लेकिन अर्जुन यहाँ पे प्रश्न बन सकते हैं, पूछे है, हाउ डज ही ट्रांसेंड द मोड ऑफ नेचर। लक्षण के बारे में भी पूछा है और उसका वर्क, बिहेवियर, आचरण कैसा है, ठीक है। So in this verse, Arjuna's questions are very appropriate. He wants to know the symptoms of person who has already transcended the modes. उनके लक्षण जानना चाहता है जो गुणातीत है। तो पहले वो उसके लक्षण पूछ रहे, आज सिम्टम्स क्या है। How can one understand that he has already transcended the influence of modes of material nature? कैसे समझ सकते हैं। दूसरा प्रश्न है, how he lives and what is his activity are they regulated or non-regulated, उसका आचरण कैसा है। Then Arjuna inquires the means by which he can attain the transcendental nature. That is very important. कैसे करना, परे होना है। So unless one knows the direct means by which one can situate always transcendentally, there is no possibility of showing the symptoms. So all these questions put by Arjuna are very important. Unless one knows the direct means by which one can be situated always transcendental, there is no possibility of showing symptoms. जब तक हमें गुणातीत होना है, कैसे डायरेक्टली गुणातीत हो सकते हो, पता नहीं होता, तो उसका गुण हम दिखाई नहीं पाते। तो भगवान हर एक श्लोक का 22वें अध्याय में पहले प्रश्न का उत्तर देते हैं, उसके लक्षण क्या है। फिर 22वें श्लोक में बताते हैं, 23वें श्लोक में 23 से लेकर 25 में बताते हैं व्हाट इज हिज बिहेवियर, ठीक है। और लास्ट 2 श्लोक में बताते हैं, 26वें श्लोक में बताते हैं हाउ इट ट्रांसेंड, तो उसके लक्षण क्या है, तो यहाँ पर बता रहे हैं 22वें श्लोक में। श्री भगवान उवाच प्रकाशं च प्रवृत्तिं च मोहम् एव च पांडव न द्वेष्टि संप्रवृत्तानि न निवृत्तानि कांक्षति उदासीन अवदासीनो वदासीनो गुणे प्रियो न विचाल्यते गुणा वर्तन्त इति एवं यो वतिष्ठति निन्दते सम दुःख सुखम स्वस्थः समलोष्टास्मकाश्चन तुल्य प्रिया प्रियो धीरस तुल्य निंद आत्म संस्तुति मान अपमानयोस्तुल्यस तुल्यो मित्र मित्रादि अपक्षयो सर्वारंभ परित्यागी गुणातीत स उच्यते. So who is called Gunatit is mentioned here. बता रहे हैं भगवान भगवान क्या बोले, ओ सन ऑफ Pandu, who does not have illumination, attachment, delusion when they are present, or long for them when they are disappear. Who is unwavering and undisturbed to all this reaction of material qualities, remaining neutral and transcendental, knowing that the modes alone are active, is situated in the self and regards alike happiness and distress, looks upon lump of earth, a stone, and piece of gold with equal eye. जिसे चाणक्य पंडित बोलते हैं मात्रवत परदारेषु परद्रव्येषु लोष्टवत. Considering other man's wife as a mother and others' property as a pebble. I think that has come through the inspiration of this verse of Bhagavad Gita. So who looks upon a lump of earth, a stone, and piece of gold with equal eyes, is equal towards the desirable and undesirable, who steady, situated equally, well in praise and blame, honor and dishonor, who treats alike both friend and enemy, who has renounced all material activities. Such a person is said to have transcended the modes of nature. Anyway, same यहाँ पर भी बताया होगा, आपने देखा होगा दूसरे अध्याय में भगवान ने वही बताया था कैसे पता लगाए. सारी चीजें भगवान ने बताई थी यहाँ पर आगे 70वें श्लोक तक. उससे दुखे स्वनुद्वितीय मन सुखे सुविगत हुआ, ये सब चीजें बताई थी. One who is unaffected by whatever good or evil he may obtain, neither praising it or displeasing it. यहाँ पे वापस वही बता रहे हैं, मैं वापस पढ़ रहा हूँ. Does not have illumination, attachment, delusion when they are present, or long for them when they disappear. न सोचती न कांक्षती, is not regretting and not desiring, is unwavering and undisturbed. तो आप इधर से पढ़ सकते हैं अच्छे से. न द्वेष्टि न संप्रवृत्तानि न निवृत्तानि कांक्षति. Okay, remaining neutral and transcendental, knowing that the modes alone are active. Basically, what happened when he will be disturbed? He will act like a tortoise. One who is able to withdraw his senses from sense object, as the tortoise draw its limb within the self, firmly fixed in perfect consciousness. Considering, even if we have been agitated, we should not be agitated. Someone creates such atmosphere, we should not be affected by it. So during that time, we have to withdraw our senses from the sense object like a tortoise. Basically, these are the symptoms that have the symptoms and behavior are mentioned in this 22nd to 25th verse. Okay. So remaining neutral and transcend knowing that the modes alone are active. We situated in self and regards alike happiness and distress to समय सुखे दुखे समय कृत्वा लाभा लाभो जय जय. Who looks upon a lump of earth, a stone, and piece of gold with an equal eye. Who is equal towards desirable and undesirable. Who steady, situated equally well in praise and blame, honor and dishonor. Who treats alike both friends and enemy. And who has renounced all material activity. Such a person is said to have transcended the modes of nature. These are the symptoms and behavior of a person who is gunatit. Gunatit uchyate. Gunatit uchyate. Okay, so Prabhupada has explained this in purport in detail. You can see Krishna, this was Krishna first, indicate that person transcendental situated has no enemy, does not hanker for anything. He has no enemy and doesn't hanker for anything. When a living entity stays in this material world embodied by material body, it is to be understood that he is under the control of one of the three modes. तो भौतिक शरीर में कोई भी एक मोड के द्वारा कंट्रोल में. When he is actually out of the body, then he is out of the clutches of material modes. But as long as he is not out of the material body, he should be neutral. He should engage himself in the devotional service of the Lord so that his identity with material body will automatically be forgotten. He will explain this in the next verse. When one is conscious of material body, he acts only for sense gratification. But when one transfers the consciousness to Krishna, sense gratification automatically stops. One does not need this material body. He does not need to accept the dictation of the material body. We should not be agitated by all these things. Qualities of the material modes in the body will act, but as spirit soul, self is aloof. We have that if we want, if we desire, we will not be affected. Not be affected. You try that. If you don't want to affect it, it's your choice. You try that. You will be able to do. We will be able to do that if we try. That's why this line is very, very important. The qualities of the material mode in the body will act. They will try to agitate us. But as a spirit soul, self is aloof from such activity. So if you want, we don't want to be disturbed, will not be disturbed. You try that. Try that. Okay. So how does he become aloof? He does not desire to enjoy. Okay, sorry. How does he become aloof? That question will be answered. So he does not desire to enjoy the body, nor does he desire to get out of it. Thus transcendentally situated, the devotee becomes automatically free. He need not try to become free from the influence of modes of material nature. Means he has to engage in some other activity. Devotees will be free. They are automatically free. They need not try to become free from the influence of modes of material nature. So next question concerns the dealing of the transcendentally situated person, how they behave. The materially situated person is affected by so-called honor and dishonor offered to the body. But transcendentally situated person is not affected by such a false honor and dishonor. By these symptoms, you can understand that how much person is advanced. He performs his duty in Krishna consciousness and does not mind whether a man honor or dishonor him. So we should not be agitated by all those things. I'm also practitioner. I'm not on that level, but this is the actually. If you try, all of you might have experienced some degree. If you try that, it will work. But we have to practice. He accepts things that are favorable for his duty in Krishna consciousness. Otherwise, he has no necessity of anything material, either a stone or gold. He takes everyone as a dear friend to help him in his execution of Krishna consciousness, and he does not have his so-called enemy. He is equally disposed and see everything on equal level because he knows perfectly well that he has nothing to do with material existence. Social and political issues do not affect him. Social and political issues do not affect him. When Srila Prabhupada met Bhaktisiddhanta Sarita Thakur, Bhaktisiddhanta Sarita Thakur instructed Srila Prabhupada, "Oh, you are a young man, learned English-speaking man. You should go and speak the message of Lord Chaitanya to the English-speaking world." So Prabhupada raised a question: "Our country is not yet independent." Bhaktisiddhanta Sarita Thakur says, "The message of Lord Chaitanya will not wait for the independence of the country. So you go and distribute. It will not be affected." But political and social issue will be affected by Krishna consciousness. It is different. Okay. Not affected by, because social and political issue do not affect him, because he knows the situation of temporary upheaval and disturbance. He does not attempt anything for his own sake. He can attempt anything for Krishna. But for his personal self, he does not attempt anything. By such a behavior, one becomes actually transcendentally situated. Basically, it's anasakta se visaya nathara mukti nirbandhe Krishna sambhate yuktam vairagya muchyate. It sees everything as a yukta vairagya. Okay. So hope this is clear. So in the next verse, Krishna says how you can become Gunatit. In the previous three verse, 22nd to previous 4 verse, he mentioned about what are the symptoms of Gunatit, what are the behavior of the Gunatit. So, he asked the Arjuna's first two questions. What are the symptoms of Gunatit and what is the behavior of Gunatit? Now he goes to the third question. How you can become Gunatit? So again in this verse, Mamacha yo abhicharini bhakti yogena sevate sagunan samti brahma bhuyaya kalpate. Mamacha yogya vicharena bhakti yogena sevate sagunan samati etan brahma bhuyaya kalpate. Mamacha yo avyabhicharine bhakti. Again, we saw in the 13th chapter, so many times it is mentioned ananya bhakti sata ananya sintayanto mam yatantasya dhradavrita. Then satam kirtayanto mam, that yatantasya dhradavrita. Many places they have spoken about ananya bhakti. Here he mentioned Maicha ananya yogena bhakti avyabhicharini. Maicha ananya yogena bhakti avyabhicharini. So again he speaks about ananya bhakti, avyabhicharini bhakti. Ananya bhakti and avyabhicharini bhakti, actually they are same. You see what, but emphasizing you are speaking, you are using again. Then, so I already explained what is avyabhicharini bhakti. Vyabhichar means when man is exploiting other man's wife and wife is exploiting other wife's husband. That is called vyabhichar. Prostitution, basically. So same way, if we worship someone who is authorized to be worshipped. Sorry, if you don't worship, who is authorized to be worshipped, and we worship those who are not, authorized, or you can say they are not worthy of worship. So what does it mean? That we are like making the relationship with like man is making the relationship with other man's wife, and wife is making the relationship with other wife's husband. That is called vyabhichar. So vyabhicharini means only Krishna and his expansion, no other demigods. Ananya means Ananya means single, one only, no other thing. Anya and Ananya, there are two different words. Anya means many, others. Ananya means only that particular, no one else. Krishna says, Mamacha yo abhicharine. Mam, unto me, abhicharine, without fail, or only he. Okay. So, bhakti yogena sevate. Sagunan samati yetan brahma bhuyaya kalpate. One who engages in full devotional service, unfailing in all circumstances, once transcend the modes of material nature and thus come to the level of Brahman. And when we do bhakti, we are not aspiring for Brahman, we are aspiring from direct relationship with Krishna. And why Krishna is, telling us Brahman here. Brahma Bhuyaya Kalpate. Brahman liberation. There are three aspects. Understanding the God, Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagwan. First level is Brahma, just merging in Brahma Jyoti. दूसरा है परमात्मा रियलाइजेशन, हृदय में हम भगवान को देखते हैं, और तीसरा है भगवान रियलाइजेशन. तो यहाँ पे ब्रह्मण रियलाइजेशन बताया भगवान, उसका मतलब क्या है बाद में देखते हैं. Basically he has emphasized on bhakti again. You see, every chapter Krishna talks about bhakti. Anyway, in the last class I'll show you that how in every chapter Krishna talks about bhakti. So basically Bhagavad Gita is, emphasizing on take up the devotional service unto Lord Krishna. So that's why it is said, Smartayam Satanam Vishnu, Vismartayam Jatuchit. Sarve Vishi Nisheda Suyur, means all the Vidhi Nisheda are made based on these two principles. Always remember Vishnu, never forget Krishna. Always remember Krishna, never forget Krishna. So these are the rules that, what is that? Anukulesya Sankalpa Pratikulesya Varjanam. Rakshasyati Vishwasa Kopta Chitta Varnave. These are the 6 symptoms of surrender. Anyway, but we'll see that in last. So again Krishna says, Mam cha yo avyabhicharena bhakti yogena sevate. So after that there is last verse of this chapter. So this verse is reply to Arjuna's third question. What is the meaning of attaining transcendental position? भगवान अर्जुन का तीसरे प्रश्न का उत्तर दिया. Or as explained before, the material world is acting under the spell of modes of material nature. One should not be disturbed by the activities of the modes of nature. Instead of putting his consciousness into such activity, he may transfer his consciousness to Krishna's activity. Actually, every step we have choice. Okay? So every step we have a choice. Someone come and hit us, we have a choice to take a shelter of Krishna, or to understand the philosophy of Bhagavad Gita. It depends on us how we take it. For every step we have choice to take a shelter of Krishna, to surrender unto Krishna. Okay. Every step we have choice. Mark this word in the mind. So some agitation come, Just like, we have to act like Haridas Thakur. When Haridas Thakur was uh, given the allurement to unite with beautiful prostitute, her name was Laksha Hira, means lakh mein ek cheez. But Haridas Thakur just what he said, okay, I'll fulfill your desire, but afterwards, he postponed it. He didn't say no, postponed it. He took that time, and in that time, he did such activity that he has been free. You have to gain the time. Don't react immediately. Think and respond. And remember that you are not bound to answer immediately. Or sometimes you don't want to answer, don't answer also. You're not bound for that. But he answered because we have relationship with a good relationship, we should respect that. So don't implement blindly. A good relationship so that we are answerable in the to keep that relationship. Okay. We are not bound to answer all the questions. We don't want to be. It's up to us. And most of the people make mistake here and create so many havoc. So Krishna activities are known as Bhakti Yoga. Always acting for Krishna. This includes not only Krishna but his different plenary expansions such as Ram and Narayan. This innumerable expansion, Ramadi Murtisu Kala Niyaman Krishna, Nana Avatara Bhunesu Kintu. Krishna Swam Sambhava Parma Pumanaya, Govinda Madhupuru Sintamam Bhaja. So one who is engaged in the service of any of the form of Krishna or his plenary expansion is considered to be transcendentally situated. So, and Ananya means none other than Vishnu Tattva. Krishna, Vishnu, Rama, all are Vishnu Tattva. But Indra, Varuna, all are demigods. They are Jiva Tattva. There are 5 Tattvas: Vishnu Tattva, Jiva Tattva, Shakti Tattva, Jada Tattva, Shiva Tattva. One should also note that all the forms of Krishna are fully transcendental, blissful, full of knowledge and eternal. Such a personality of Godhead are omnipotent, omniscient. Omnipotent means any sense can act. Eyes can act like a mouth. Mouth can act like eyes. Omniscient means it's all knowledgeable, past, present, and future. And they possess all transcendental quality. If one engage himself in service of Krishna or his plenary expansion with unfailing determination, although these modes of material nature are very difficult to overcome, one can overcome them easily. Actually, after practicing bhakti, you might have realized that. Some degree you might have realized, definitely. This has already been explained in the 7th chapter. One who surrender unto Krishna at once surmounts the influence of the modes of material nature. Devi aisi gunamai mam maya duratte. Mamevaya prapadyante maya metam tarante. Yesterday we discussed that. Okay. Know that all state of being, be the goodness, passion, are manifested by my energy. I'm in one sense everything, but I'm independent. I'm not under the modes of material nature, for they are on the contrary, within me. Diluted by the 3 modes, goodness, passion, and ignorance, the whole world does not know me about the mode of inexhaustible. This divine energy of mind, consisting of 3 modes of material nature, is difficult to overcome. But those who have surrendered unto me can easily cross beyond it. Krishna has already mentioned here. So to be in Krishna consciousness or in devotional service means to acquire equality with Krishna in quality, not contradictory. God says that his nature is eternal, blissful, full of knowledge, and living entities are part and parcel of Supreme Lord. As gold particles are part of gold mine. So when you take a drop of ocean water and ocean water, they are qualitatively same but quantitatively different. Thus, the living entity in his spiritual position is as good as gold and as good as Krishna in quality. Qualitative oneness. The difference of individuality continues. Otherwise, there would be no question of bhakti yoga. If Krishna would have been same, there is no question of bhakti. Why should we practice bhakti? Bhakti yoga means that Lord is there, the devotee is there, and the activity of exchange of love between the Lord and the devotee is there. Bhakti means they are serving Krishna. Krishna's existence, separate existence is there, our existence is also separate. And there is a process of rendering service. So there, the individuality of two person is present in the supreme person of Godhead, in the individual person. Otherwise, there would be no meaning of bhakti yoga. This defeats the Maya philosophy. If one is not situated in the same transcendental position with the Lord, one cannot serve the Supreme Lord. Just like we want to serve direct Prime Minister, then we have to be in the level of him, right? In some degree. To be personal assistants to a king, one must acquire the qualification. If you want to become assistant of the king, personal assistant, you should have qualification. Then the qualification is become Brahman or free from material contamination. The Brahman can be Brahma Bhuyaya Kalpate. So it is said in the Vedic literature, Brahmeva San Brahma Piti. One can attain the supreme Brahman by becoming Brahman. This means that one must qualitatively become one with Brahman. By attainment of the Brahman, one does not lose his eternal Brahman identity as an individual soul. यहाँ पे मेंशन किया ब्रह्म भूयाय कल्पते means thus comes to the level of Brahman. Means cross. So we have, if you want to serve Krishna, we have to also become. We should become. We must have to become collectively on the level of Krishna. Krishna is on the level of Brahman. Aham Brahmasmi, in the sense they are not this body, they are soul. To come to that level, to transcend the material modes, this material condition. Brahma Bhuyaya Te. So, what is that Brahman? So, there are here, Brahman can be defined as a Jivatma also and Paramatma also. But Paramatma is known as Supreme Brahman. Krishna says in the next verse, you could have finished the chapter here only, but he says here that Brahmano hi pratishtaham amrutasya avyayasya cha sasvatasya cha dharmasya sukhasya kanti tasya cha. तो बोल रहे, and I am the basis of that impersonal Brahman, which is immortal, imperishable, eternal, and is the constitutional position of ultimate happiness. Krishna is the source of that impersonal Brahman. So you will attain the position of Brahman. Krishna says that I am. So basically, we come to the level of Brahman. Actually, when you perform bhakti, you directly attain Krishna. So when you attain Krishna, it also includes Paramatma feature and Brahman feature. That's what Krishna is trying to say. Brahmana pratishtaham amrutasya avyayasya cha sasvatasya cha dharmasya sukhasya ekantiktasya cha. The constitution of Brahman is immortality, imperishability, eternity, and happiness. And Brahman is the beginning of transcendental realization. Paramatma, we had already discussed. You can realize the God in three phases: Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. Vadanti tes tattvam yat jnanam avyayam ब्रह्मेति ब्रह्मेति परमात्मे परमात्मेति भगवान इति शब्दे. Therefore, both the Paramatma and personal Brahman are the supreme person. He is explaining the 7th chapter that material nature is the manifestation of interior energy of the Lord, Supreme Lord. Okay. So that way, like we can become Gunatit here. So that way, we end the chapter 14. Tomorrow we'll start with chapter 15. So we discussed today about how to become Gunatit. In chapter 14, like we discussed that about the condition of the soul by the material modes, then effect of the conditioning by the modes, and we discussed how can we transcend the modes of material nature. So that way we can put chapter 14. Tomorrow we'll start with 15th chapter. So thank you very much. If you have any question, comment, feedback, you can unmute yourself and ask, or you can write in the chat. Hare Krishna.